How are you? It's your boy Bill Foster on the check-in. Happy Monday. I'm a little tired today, so don't mind me. Um, but I'm feeling good. I'm glad I'm here, and that's what's all that matters. This is Real Talk with Alyson Williams. She will be with us shortly. She is coming along, and I just wanted to give you some, recap on things that's what's happening and, and stuff like that. Um, of course, I can't forget the sponsors, Soft Illusions Art Gallery. We had a beautiful weekend for Malika and her mother's 13th year as business owners. That was awesome. We had an awesome time. Shout out to everybody that came down and showed us love, showed them love, which of course, depending on who you knew, you came and showed love. So that was just important on that account. Um, what else? Yo, it's like time is flying. Happy belated Mother's Day to everybody. For all the mothers out there in the world, uh, you are appreciated. Trust me, if you don't know, you definitely are. You're appreciated. I hope you had a wonderful day, no matter what you did. A lot of people try to, celebrate, do things like that. I personally, of course, my mother's deceased, Malika's mother's alive. So I have no problems with her spending Mother's Day with her mother, which is a beautiful thing. I am not selfish like that, where I'm like, no, I don't mope and get in and commiserate. Like that's not what I do. But um, I celebrate. You know what I'm saying? Of course, mom's not here and stuff like that. That might be a topic one day. I might have to ask people, like, um, if you're in a relationship and your your significant other is a mother or a father, and you don't have children together. I don't know if you have relationships with the kid, but do you take them out? Mm, that's some controversial shit. I know I'm starting stuff. It's okay. Shout out to all the sponsors: Daily Arts and Survival Magazine, Reggie Wells Quality Speakers, Leon Ellis Chocolat, Melba Wilson. Uh, of course, got to shout out to my boys, Assorted Flavors, Danny D, and T Rock for the third brunch party is coming up with yours truly. Shout out to Row House for giving us a venue to do what we do. It's Beautiful People Brunch Party. If you have not been, I don't know why, but you got to get there. And without further ado, I see Allie coming in. She's sipping. She coming in sipping. Look at this shit here. Oh, somebody is on some real birthday shit. Let me tell you something. Happy
Don't hate.
happy birthday.
Don't
Listen,
hate because you're not a hater. And
no,
haters
I'm not
got to
hating.
hate. And you're not a hater. So don't
Listen,
hate. Just love me because I'm
listen,
in the hot tub.
listen.
It's real talk from the hot tub.
I think it's awesome. I really do. I think it's awesome that this real talk can come from any place in this world, and that's
And
what we
it
do.
does.
Absolutely. Shout out to
And I try
everybody.
to make it as interesting as possible whenever I come through.
Well, that's what you do. You know, there's something funny. I mean, listen, you were bringing sexy to this place. What's up, Cheryl? What's up, Melvin? How are
Hey,
you?
I'm
You
in
said,
the
hey,
hot tub. I'm on the golf course. It can't get no better than this.
no. So happy belated. For those that don't
Thank
know,
you.
Allison and my mother are born on the same day. So of course I will never forget her birthday. And I know you had a little shindig at the Sugar Bar. Sorry we missed it. How was it?
It was wonderful. And thank you to everybody who came out and everybody who chimed in virtually. And, we did what we do there on a Thursday night. We had
Mm-hmm.
good music, good food, good people, strong drinks, and started chapter 62.
Oh, 62? I thought you was 22.
No, you didn't.
Well,
If I
I
had to be 20,
I
if
don't
I
want
had
you
to
to
be
I don't
22,
want you to get your hair wet now, or you don't care about your hair getting wet now.
oh, darling, we don't care about hair. It's just water. Hey, listen, if I had to be 22 in 2023, I'd be done.
Oh, listen, it'd be a different thing, right? It'd
Oh
be a different.
God, I don't know. I couldn't take it.
Mm. Mel
I have a
said,
little
Mel said
technical
great thing.
difficulty. I have a stand, like a little tripod, but the little holder that holds the phone, when I went to look at my luggage and pull the stand out, it cracked. So I knew it wasn't going to hold. I didn't want to take no chances with my phone in the water. So I'm just going to
No,
hold it. Hey,
no.
everybody.
Look at this. So, so chapter 62 is looking real good on you. How about that?
Thank you. And thank you to all the listeners, all the viewers, to you and Malika for
Yeah.
loving on me. I haven't really seen you all since I did South in Philadelphia
Right,
at
right.
the end of April, and you all showed out. You had how many people there at the
We had
show?
we had 18 people.
Y'all had like 18 people, and it's
Yeah.
a small, intimate room, so it really meant a lot to really show in those numbers and to bring people out. And I had a wonderful time. We had two sold out shows, um, and it was so funny. People might not know, Gerald Beasley, the incredible jazz
You can tell a
bassist,
story. You can tell a
and
story.
I know Gerald. And from the
Mhm.
time we met, he'd been talking and telling me, well, I run this club in Philly, and I'd love you to come. And then the pandemic came and went and all of that. But just things happening and logistics of how to get people in and out and make it make sense. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. But then Bill and Leah decided they would go get involved. They're like, look, how you gonna tell my girl you gonna have her at your club? And this is the premier club in Philadelphia where all,
Yeah.
the
Yes.
if you're somebody and you're coming there, if you're not playing a theater or an auditorium, if you're doing a jazz club, you're going
You're going to
into
South.
South. My first time there was several years ago. I went to hang out and end up sitting in with Kirk Whalum, and he's
Look
a
at that.
buddy. And I fell in love with the room, and then I ended up going to the Berks Jazz Festival in Pennsylvania, which is where I again encountered Gerald, and he was like, "Oh, we got to do it." It was musical love. We got to do it, and finally we did it. But Gerald was like, "How you gonna? You got hit people. How you gonna have people come and tell me? When am I gonna get it done?" Because they were. He was like, "I really had to get on my. Bill and them weren't playing. I
No,
felt threatened."
no, not yeah, yeah. I gave him that New York press. I was like, yo,
You
listen,
did. You did. You gave him pressure, pressure, pressure.
listen. Don't anybody that knows me, my loyalty game is probably better than anybody besides their own. So if you tell me something and I go back and tell somebody that you said you're going to do something, do it. Or tell me that you can't do it, but don't tell me you're going to do it and you ain't do it yet. Because then I'm
And
looking for
we had put it in motion, you know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like, well, are you just lurking?
yeah, yeah,
But he
yeah.
he,
So
he got it together. It's
yeah,
done.
yeah, definitely. And it was a
And
wonderful
and now the
show.
beautiful thing is, and then hold on, I'm trying to get this out of my hand. Now the
Uh-huh.
beautiful thing is now we can do it more. We can do it
Yeah,
again.
yeah. And you know what's so funny, which was I think a great theme, and a lot of people may not understood. And when I say understood, if they would have came, you gave a jazz set because you can go R&B, you can go a plethora of ways. But the bottom line is, it was like I think the celebration of jazz for that month. It was was it women in jazz or
Right.
just
Yeah, we were
jazz?
coming at the end. April is Jazz
Yeah,
Appreciation Month, and this was at the very end. And going into Women's Month and all of that kind of stuff. So, and telling stories. I had friends there that I had gone to high school with. I didn't expect to be there. And, it was just really great. It was the only time I had played a club out of town, and it still felt just like a New York set.
yes,
There was
yes.
so many New Yorkers there
Shout out to the
that
New
came
York crew
from,
that drove down. Yeah,
they just came. Some people flew in and said, "Oh, I'm going to be in Philly that week. You're going to be there." They came in from Florida. Shout out to Carol.
yeah,
In Cal Alexander, and like I said, my surprise people from high school and the
yeah.
people from the
Vanessa and
Delaware
the crew.
area.
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
I had people from Atlantic City. The former mayor and his wife were there. I called them. You always think about things at the last minute, and I was like, you know what? Atlantic City people are Philly people too, and I had forgotten that. And these are some people that have been very kind to me over the years. And when I called her, I said, "Listen, I'm sorry for the last minute notification, but I want to let you know. She said, girl, we had our tickets since February. And that just made me
Yeah, you,
feel so good,
yeah. And it's a
that
beautiful thing to sell
people,
out both shows too,
yeah,
because
yeah.
and shout out to Gerald Beasley and his family and his daughter. They're phenomenal.
Yes,
And his
and his
wife, they're
lovely
phenomenal
wife
people.
and his daughter, they do
Yeah.
a great job.
And that restaurant is black owned for those in the Philadelphia area or anybody that wants to come down to Philadelphia. If you want to experience a nice jazz set, you do. I mean, they have a schedule of who's performing, but even on days that it may not be that top tier artist that you think, you're
Hmm.
not getting
All
cheated
of
out.
their local artists are incredible too. All of the
That's
local artists, jazz artists that come through are incredible. That come through and give a great performance. The food is wonderful. They've had Kim Pinder Gardner there, who is from the Pennsylvania area. She had just the week or so before come through with her Phyllis Hyman tribute show. Um, Carol Riddick, who's an
yeah,
incredible
Carol Reddick.
vocalist. Carol Riddick is a beast,
Yeah, she's
and
phenomenal.
she uh, and she has a wonderful podcast that she does, radio show podcast as well. And she had been there with Gerald. Gerald was, like I said, manning things over at the Berks Jazz Festival, so he couldn't be there. But he put me in the very capable hands of Mr. Bill Jolly. And Bill Jolly put together a wonderful band with his brother, sax player, bass player, drummer. It was a really great quartet. They were excellent. They played the music and played it with intensity and integrity. I
Yes,
never felt
yes,
like I wasn't, covered. And this is like I said, when you pick up a band in a city, you only get them for the night you got them. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
You can rehearse, but it's often that you might feel like you don't get what you'd get from your own men, your own musicians, but that was not the case. And as I say that, I want to share this. This was good birthday news. When I went to Mr. Jolly's house to rehearse, he had two Emmys sitting on the shelf, and I said, Bill, let me take a picture with your Emmy, and he said, fine. And I said, I don't know when, but in the next few months, I'm going to do a post, and the post is going to say the world. And then it's going to have the world saying, what are you doing today, Alyson? And then my
yeah.
answer is going to be me. And I'm going to say, working on my EGOT. And I'm going to be
There,
holding the Emmy, right?
there you go. There you
So
go. That's what's
wait a
up.
minute. So you manifested into the universe. Come 2 months, 3 months later, I got a call from a brother named Skip Martin. For those who don't know, Skip Martin is the original lead singer of the Dazz Band. Y'all remember the Dazz Band? Y'all
Of course,
remember when we used to
absolutely.
have big,
With
fabulous bands like Kool and the Gang and Earth, Wind and Fire, the Dazz Band, and Cameo, and the charts were just filled with these great big bands that gave us our music that we grew up to. Anyway, so during the pandemic, Skip asked me to be a part of a project. And he took the song, People Get Ready, There's a Train a Coming. And
yeah,
he did an arrangement of it because he felt during the pandemic we needed to go back and take a song like that and have hope for change and bring us together. And he called myself and about 20 other artists, inclusive of Stevie Wonder, Tony Cherry, Dougie Fresh, CeCe Peniston, Darkest Gates, and just all from all walks, black, white, all different genres of music. And we did the song, and everybody recorded from where they were. And then we got together and did a little piece, put together video, everybody doing something. And he teamed up with St. Jude's Hospital for Children. And I think they must have used it for some piece of promotion. Anyway, the bottom line is, come just a couple of weeks ago, my manifestation has come into fruition. We have been nominated for an Emmy
oh wow.
for the song.
How long ago was this song done?
This is just happening now. The Emmys will be in
Oh,
June, on June
so this
17th in
this
Atlanta.
is recent. Okay, exactly,
So
exactly.
I talked about this at the end of April, and this is now May. We cut this, like I said, during the pandemic, and we have been nominated for the Emmy. If he wins the Emmy, I win the Emmy.
There you
And
go.
thus we have the beginning of working on the EGOT.
On the EGOT,
It
exactly.
wasn't just me blurting out some words. I am on that journey, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm going to post the picture really soon. Also, shout outs to my buddy, comrade, and musical collaborator, Najee this Saturday coming, he will be receiving the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. And that's a real big deal when the White House comes and says you have been recognized in American history, not just Black American history, but for your work in your lifetime, you know, forever rooted in the annals of time. And so we're going to celebrate that well, down there by DC, at the Birchmere on the 20th in Arlington. So I'm excited just to be involved with these types of programs, presentations, platforms, people. It says something about what my journey is because I'm a part of it.
Yeah,
and it says something about the work that I'm putting in. You know, so I'm excited.
That's an awesome thing. Shout out to everybody watching. This is Alyson Williams. I'm Bill Foster. This is Real Talk with Alyson Williams. If you haven't subscribed to it, please do share the like button. If you're watching it from Facebook, just go to YouTube and push the subscribe button. Build up the content. Keep it moving. Terry said, "Look at you." She said, "Look at Allie in the hot tub." Shout out to Terry Miller in the building. And she says, Allie, she said, "Where's your floating shell?"
My floating shell is back in Winston. This is a hot tub. It's not the ocean or the pool. You know, everybody I think has seen my pictures on my golden shell.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love my golden shell. Hey, listen, happy belated birthday to anyone that I might have missed for the Taurian season. Happy belated Mother's Day to all the mothers. When I go to New York for my birthday, it's a whirlwind week, and I'm so busy being celebrated and celebrating with other people. Because my celebration becomes other people's celebration. You know what I'm saying? I don't just receive love, but I give love. But I might not have been able to reach directly out to you or whatever. So I hope everybody's Mother's Day and everybody's birthday was great. Colin came down to the Sugar Bar.
Yeah, shout out to Colin.
And had a great time.
Too, I think.
Kathy Sharpton was there. Nat Adderley Jr. All the Taurians show up. They showed up to show out. Nat Adderley Jr., Nate Lucas. It was really a great night.
They came out with you too?
Yeah, man. He came on a bed down past 125th Street. It was really good. And then I celebrated with him at the Red Rooster as well. So, the best thing about it was I was born on a Thursday. In 1961 on Thursday at 9 a.m. So to be able to celebrate my 62nd birthday on the day of my birth was a big deal. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I was my Mother's Day present. And when I used to live in New York, I would always put up a flyer and I'd call it the Alley Cat Crawl. And I would tell people wherever I'm performing or wherever I'm working on my local dates, that's where you come. You don't have to worry about older parties on Sunday. I can't come on Sunday because I got to do. Nope. If I'm at the Red Rooster on Sunday, come to the Red Rooster. If I'm at the Arthur's on Saturday, come to Arthur's. I'm at the Sugar Bar on Thursday, come on Thursday. Wherever I was in the middle of the week, come. And all we needed was food, drinks, people, music, and a cake. And then poof.
And we had a party.
Let me tell you that's what we used to do. So this was kind of like
authors. We had a ball. There's some questions in here. I'm gonna get to your questions for everybody. But shout out to you said, all the Taurians. For those that don't know, Real Talk was started because of my mother and her transitioning. But I celebrate Taurus. I'm different than a lot of people. This is my parents' birthday month. Tomorrow is my father's birthday. My mother's birthday, like I said earlier, is her and Allie share the same birthday. So the bottom line is I different than most people. I don't get depressed during May. I kind of celebrate them. I celebrate, my Taurian friends, like my man, shout out to my man, Mark Walker in the building. He just had his birthday. We had a celebration for him. We had a double celebration for that weekend. Shout out to all the Taurus. I got love for my Taurians. You know what I'm saying? Y'all out here, y'all rocking. I got a lot of love for y'all. So get a hearts up for all of those. I got a question in here. Loving God. Even though you're so relaxed, but I'm gonna because it's real talk. We just got to do real talk. And then what's so funny, Allie, maybe we got to reach out to some of your people like Cheryl and Carol Riddick and some people and get them on in your journey and let them come in and share some of their love and their stories with us. You know what I'm saying? And we can get them. You know what I'm saying? And it's just nothing but an ask. And it's a beautiful thing because we can chop it up. The one thing you and I can do, we've done many a nights talking to the wee hours of the morning. So we know we can talk to anybody, whoever you are.
Absolutely.
We can converse with you. Like my wifey said, Malika says, Soul Jazz Kitchen is our go-to spot for date nights. I know it is, darling. And for those that don't know, Malika and I had we have 2 wedding anniversaries. So the 12th was one of them, and she did it on tried to do it on my mother's birthday. So I always shout out to that, for her to do, being so slick and shrewd. That's Terry, you're a Taurus in the house, right? Arthur was the bomb, Terry said. Yes, I had a beautiful time. Shout out to Allie team, Terry Miller and Melvin in the building. Beautiful people, my people. So Loving God asks a question. And I'm going to read it to you. He says, what's up, Bill Foster? This is your man, Loving God, privilege. I want to ask the audience a question, but the audience, you can give it, defer to the audience, but of course, Allie, since this is your show, you're going to have to be the first one to answer. He said, what would you rather have, true love without sinning or wealth without sinners? That's a hot one for a hot tub, but he shifted it, but he said, what would you rather have, true love without sinning or wealth without sin, with wealth with sinners? Basically,
I'd much rather have true love. I'd much rather have true love. Me.
Right.
Because when you put sinning in the mix, when you put sinning to whatever level you put, you're looking at, when you put that in the mix, you ruin everything. It's all gonna crumble. That's standing on sinking sand.
Yeah.
But love is the premise of which God gave his only son so that we might live life and live it more abundantly. That's love. That is pure D love. Love is a given, trust is earned, they say. So if I have love and I work from a place of love, then nothing else I do can fail.
He asked another question, and so we can piggyback on that, because the bottom line is true love. Nobody can take that away. You know what I'm saying? If you love somebody and you honestly love them, you will try to treat them with kid gloves, because the bottom line is no one wants to hurt anybody's feelings when you love them. You're more apologetic than disrespectful. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you're careful.
Yes.
And the word careful is a compound word. It's 2 words, care and full. You're full of care. You're careful. Absolutely. And when you are careful with someone's heart, someone's emotions, someone's being, someone's, who they are, then you're going to, like you said, you're going to treat them a certain way and be careful not to be disrespectful, not to always bring something positive to the table, even if sometimes it means being, I need to teach you something. I need to show you something. I need to open your eyes. I need to maybe have you be more reflectful on the way that you do things, but it's done with love and it's done out of love.
Absolutely. I have a question, but I'm gonna read his. He says, Alyson, you definitely exhibit a smooth flair. And then he also asked you, he said, who's your favorite go-to for the ministry of God? I don't know if he's talking song, scripture, or church. I don't know. That's a wide open question. But I'm assuming you can pick any one you want, because people don't know you do believe in God. You are a lady of church. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, with music for me, it was always when I coming up as a kid, everybody had Mahalia Jackson and I guess it was just because of the era and the way they photographed things. They always tried to make her look so angelic and like she was in heaven. So when we were little kids, we thought Mahalia Jackson was already dead. And they would say, if you don't go to bed and if you don't go to bed, if I don't want to hear another peep out of you, Mahalia Jackson will go get you.
Yeah.
It looked like she was already there. But it wasn't until I got to be grown that I got turned on to gospel music per se. Mm-hmm. And my first person was, sure, I knew Shirley Caesar, I knew about these people, but it was Vanessa Bell Armstrong. Mm-hmm. And then there was people like Kim Burrell and things like that who sang the gospel a certain way. It was a contemporary, because I never believed that I could sing gospel music. Really? Because I didn't sound like gospel singers. I didn't realize it didn't matter what you sound like sonically. It's the message in the music. It's your testimony. So then came Yolanda Adams, and because she had the balance of kind of R&B, jazz-ish, and gospel, and she wasn't necessarily just a squaller. You know what I'm saying? I could relate, and so therefore that blossomed my wanting to be involved and know more about gospel music. I came up in Catholic school. I did an 8-year bid at All Saints over there on Madison Avenue. Then I went to Catholic high school. Then I went to Catholic college. And I remember being a kid, and we'd go to church, and they had the Gregorian chant, and all of the masses were in Latin. And I wanted to hit. This was my fantasy. Tell you how twisted I was. Y'all people who come from my era, there was a cartoon called Quick Draw McGraw, and he had an evil counterpart named El Kabong, and El Kabong would swing on a rope and hit you in the head with his guitar. I wanted to hit the nuns with the guitar because we were in church just hymning, and it was so boring. And I had started to go to church with my cousins out in Queens, and they went to Pentecostal church. I didn't care about the doctrine and anything, but they were singing. Yeah. And these young people were singing, and they wouldn't let me join the choir because back in that day, they didn't do that. If you weren't a member of the church, then no. Eventually, as it came through, even my church, All Saints, formed a wonderful community choir, and people joined it, and they had a great musical director, John Stanley, shout out. He is the musical director for Patti LaBelle. I'm sitting back going, well, where the hell was John Stanley when I was trying to sing in the church? But, my whole quest was to find my testimony through gospel music. So music is an open thing for me. I write gospel songs. I am constantly trying to find a way to get traction with them, but it's a process. I know that they will come out. In terms of who I look to, I like church is a building, so wherever I go to worship is where I might go. I seem to always maybe end up in maybe Baptist church, but it's not on purpose. I've studied Buddhism, I've studied Jehovah's Witness, obviously I came up Catholic, so I've been in a search. I like TD Jakes. Y'all feel how you feel. I like Joel Osteen. I like, there's a few different people, but people who pray on me are now I can say Dr. Leo Colon, Reverend Dr. Leo Colon, who is a pastor as well as a musician. He's the musical director for Vanessa Williams, but he took his ministry not only from, coming up in that same world where we were going and gigging and after hour spotting and doing what we do. Now he's a pastor and speaks not only to his flock of people who may not be in the business, but certainly those of us who are in. I remember one time he had a church on the east side that he was pastoring, and he had a service that didn't start till 4 PM so that we could get to church. If we worked the night before, we could get to church. And then if we had a Sunday gig, we could do the Sunday gig. Wow. You know what I'm saying? And then still get there and then maybe get out in time to go do your Sunday night gig. Also, a woman that was brought into my life, Pastor Nadine White, who is out of Atlanta, Georgia. And when I'm feeling in times of trouble, I need prayer. Those are the two that I go to. And Leo and his wife, Dorothy, and Pastor Nadine White are the ones that, I look to. I also study chakra-based meditation with Reverend Nafisa Sherrard, who's out of Harlem, and she is not only a West African dance specialist master, but she is also a chakra meditation and Reiki, all forms of those Eastern and African based healing techniques through meditation. And so those are the things I do to keep myself prayed up, protected, keep the hedge around me. And that's where I hate to say religion, because religion, like I said, is almost like a church. It's a building. My spiritual basis. Now I keep my spiritual basis intact so that I'm able to open the door and walk outside and know that you can't mess with me because I'm a child of God, and things are not going to go well for you if you mess with me. I promise you.
Absolutely. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. That's Alice. This is Real Talk with Alyson Williams. I'm Bill Foster. That's Alyson Williams. Shout out to my partner Arlie Presley in the building. See us this Saturday at the Beautiful People Brunch Party. It's the 3rd edition. We got the summer series. We do the 1st and the 3rd. Shout out to all the sponsors there in the background. Alyson is playing with the water. Alyson, I got a fun fact for you. I got a
I'm,
few
I'm
questions.
actually feeling a little fabulous for myself right now.
Well, that's a beautiful thing because let me tell you something. The hot tub is a good way to relax too. Really, get into them bones.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have
You
been
don't need it.
here at one of my family friends before, and I've been in the hot tub and had my chakra stones and my chimes and my you know all kinds of stuff. Just using the water as a way to cleanse from the inside out. You know what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
it's very healing, and water is very powerful. And
What's so funny? I wanted to tell you too. This is a Real Talk Chronicles moment. For those that don't know, I went to Catholic school too, and I was an altar boy. So I know I was that
oh,
one hit
you had
that incense, and
yeah, you had
you
the
know,
incense going, and you had to light the candle. And you had to put the candle out with the little thing, and they had the wafers and the wine and the boo and the bar. You had to learn how to fold the cloth and unfold the cloth and the boom and the oh man,
and
Catholic
the
school
priest
was
was like, Father,
but
name, and Holy Spirit. Yeah, sing Hosanna. Like, oh, here we go.
and
Like,
listen, you know what's
that's
so
it.
funny? I remember almost every hymn that we used to sing in my head. It's like if I could get that out of there, maybe I have room for some more stuff. I need a reboot. I promise you, I need to buy more memory. I have all of that stuff still there. But you know what I think it does? Not, most of our parents sent us there, not almost so much as a religious move, but because they knew that the parochial school system was offering something on a different level than the public school. And they also wanted
Absolutely.
us
Yeah.
to try to, have, you wear a uniform, you do things like that. They want us to have a little more order, and they wanted us to be safer and not be running the streets. They want us to have more structure, more discipline. So they sent us to the Catholic schools, and they
And the
paid
teachers
God.
could touch you. The teachers could
Yeah.
touch
Oh,
you back
and
in the
no, the
day.
teachers were told, listen, if he don't act right, just call me at my job. I'll be glad to come. I'll be glad to come. Nowhere did we learn more. My friend Kevin Wright from the Lincoln Projects, he had an older sister in because All Saints was a generational school. Shout out to my All Saints crew. And so we had older brothers and sisters that were ahead and that had graduated or were in grades ahead. And then we had little ones coming up for those mothers who were still in childbearing range. And so Kevin did something, and his sister Pat found out and told his mother. We all had the conversation at parent teachers. We were standing there when our parents would say, "Oh, let her get out of hand. Just give me a call. Call me. I'll come. Do what you need to do." And they would paddle us or do whatever they had to do, right? Well, Kevin's mother, Mrs. Wright, who's still alive and with us, bless her heart, came down to the school, and in front of the class, we witnessed that this threat that all of us had been, had been given by our parents could really come true. And I
Oh,
think it changed the way we looked at school because Mrs. Wright bought a belt and let Kevin have it. When I
listen,
tell you,
listen,
she let him have it.
listen.
Yay!
I
Right
was a
there
part
in
of
the
them.
front of the class. And after that, everybody was like, okay, remember how your mother said she would come? She will. And we need to keep that in mind when we start our shenanigans.
Yeah, yeah. Let me tell you something. Back then is a whole different era because I never forget
And nobody stopped her. It
no.
wasn't like the teacher said, "Well, Mr. White, just take him home and then we'll talk later." She let her have her way right there.
Yeah,
Yep.
listen. I never forget my father. I failed a couple of classes, and I won't go too in deep in the failure. But my father told the teacher, he said, "Yo, listen," and I wasn't Catholic, so my father had to pay an extra $10. So I was Baptist, and then I went to Catholic school. My father had to pay. So if you weren't Catholic, you had to pay an extra $10 just to come to the school. So the thing is, my father, remember, he told the teacher, he said, "Yo, listen, I don't understand how my son failed." So the teacher was like, "Well," he said, no, there's no well. I mean, and for those that know me, you know this conversation. You can see this apple didn't fall far from the tree. So he was like, "Well, he failed, and I paid for him to come here." So during the quarters of the report cards, you didn't call me and tell me he was failing. So he says, "You will never meet me again." He said, "Because he will never fail again. Because if I have to come up here, if he failed again, then I'm coming to see you." So you know what I'm saying? Because he says I'm
So
paying.
now your father has threatened the nun and the clergy, and it didn't, and
No,
it was
no,
going to happen.
he was threatening one of the teachers. He just let him know. He said, "Yo, You sitting here telling me my son is nice and good and he's smart. He ain't that smart. He failed your class. And during that semester, you didn't call and say he was failing. So my father's whole thing was, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you? Because he said we would have. It wouldn't have been an F. It may have been a D or a C.
We could have got a handle on it.
He said,
we're responsible parents. We know how to make things happen. We could have got in him and made him study longer, or sat him down and talked to him, or let's look at what is this subject and why is he having an issue? What's the blockage?
My father
but you didn't call me and let me know. And that is the problem with a lot of kids, whether in Catholic school or any other school. If the teacher isn't following the student and making sure that the parents are involved, then the child gonna fail.
My father said, he said, we will never meet again. If we do, I'll be coming to see you. I won't be coming up here for him. He said, because the bottom line is, you will tell me what his problem is that caused him to fail, and I will nip it in the bud. So he said, start again. And soon as the man said, well, he said, my father pulled me close. I'll never forget it. He pulled me close to him. And the teacher said, he said, well, your son likes to, and as soon as he said, I caught it. Pow! And he caught, it was like a movie, a cartoon. I went back, he grabbed me and put me close. The teacher looked at me. He looked at him. Oh, okay, there you go. The teacher looked at him and looked at me. And he said, yo, the teacher stopped. He said, don't stop. He said, I told you, you'll never see me again after today. He said, but I promise you, he'll never talk again in your class. And I think what people, and I think we knew, I mean, I was aware of it. Our parents worked hard to spend money, because like you're saying, the school made you pay $10 extra. One thing the Catholic school know how to do is make money, because you was either going to sell a cookie, a candy bar, a Christmas card, a candle. You was going to do something. There was always a raffle. You was always doing something because they needed money for the books, because the archdiocese, blah, blah. So they knew how to get money out of you. And your parents, I can remember, I've got wildlife. Can you hear it? I heard it. I don't want to see no bird come
man, I'm out here.
Interrupt this show, because we'll interview him. We'll interview him or she, whatever. He coming in.
I'm trying to tell you, I think he's having a moment where he just decided to chime in.
Yeah,
he's awfully close. We're here under a tree, a canopy of trees on the golf course in the hot tub. But as I was saying, our parents, they worked hard, and they would tell you, listen, you're gonna get good grades, because I worked too hard to send you to Catholic school for you to come here with anything like this. Absolutely. And that went down to the way how you handled yourself, how you dressed yourself, how you spoke. How many kids that went to Catholic school didn't get the Jesus teased out of and bullied all the time because we spoke proper, and that was a bad thing when you got back to the block. Oh, you think you cute? You think you white? You talk like a white person. The ignorance. That brings out the cruelty in kids. And that was because we were going to a school where they were teaching us how to speak and how to be able to carry ourselves.
Absolutely. Everybody, that's Alyson Williams. I'm Bill Foster. I got some comments and questions I want to get out, and then I have a topic I want to ask you about. My man Mark Rose, he said, Rose Mark, he said, Bill, thank you for the Torian shout out. Alyson didn't realize you were a sister of the Horns. He said, that's why you sang and not sing. Love this show. Just call my name. Happy belated, Alyson. Shout out to my man.
Thank Mark. You. Same to you.
I posted the picture. I think. It was when you came to the brunch party. You met my brother Mark and him and his cousins there. Mm-hmm. Let me say, I loving God, I see you, but let me ask some other people. Vanessa Sterling, she said, God created music. There's a divine connection. Happy birthday, sis. Best wishes. Shout out to Vanessa.
Thank you.
She's been our sister ever since we met her from Debbie B. Jackson and Dave Shepard. So she's been family ever since. She says, yes, indeed. God is love. When you love someone.
Is that Vanessa Jordan?
No, Sterling.
So hi, Vanessa Sterling.
Yeah, she says respect is the equation. Terry said, wealth with Terry, you're hilarious. She said, wealth with sinners. Terry, you a hot mess. 40 Dogs said, true love, no sin is a beautiful thing. We need a lot of this. Absolutely. Terry gonna be rich with a whole bunch of sinners. She's gonna be playing by herself.
She only got one thing to work on. She already a sinner. She's gonna get money. That's the story and way.
Hey, Allie, she's already a sinner. Oh yeah,
Huh?
absolutely. Yeah, Terry, we know about you, Terry. You know what I'm saying? Loving God said it's also Catholic. Loving God said he was in Catholic school. He also has a question. He says, "How do you feel about the rapture before the great tribulation?" But I'll hold off on that. I want people to know, since this is about you today, celebration of your life and stuff. How did you get the name Alley Cat? Because when people have nicknames, people don't know how people get the name. And sometimes, like when they hear certain things about nicknames from me, they be like, "Oh, word, okay, whatever," Because I always say a nickname is given. It's really, when a nickname is given, it's the best nickname in the world. Because it's earned or whatever somebody could say. So, how did you get the nickname Alley Cat?
Well, I want to answer that other question first, Bill, because it's real short and sweet for me. And
Okay,
it goes back to my Catholic school background. I want to tell you that until I got to be an adult and was going to other churches and types of churches, and they give you a program and all that. In the Catholic Church, they never really told us to read the Bible. They read the Bible to us. Or they would read these children's Bibles,
Or
but they
make you
gave us
write
what
it
you
out.
call a missalette. They had a missalette.
Yeah.
Nobody told me, and maybe I just wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer at that time. Nobody told me that the missalette were things that were, the message was coming out of the Bible. So as growing up as a kid, kids who went to church on like that Wednesday night for Bible study, and then Friday for the missionary movement, and then usher board meetings, and then on Sunday, people who came out of that kind of church, those are the ones that could, well, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not. They can quote scripture. We didn't come up like that because I didn't realize that scripture was coming from the same place. It wasn't Bible based like that. They had a big giant Bible, but that's just how it just wasn't presented that way. So it wasn't until I got to be an adult that I know. So I can't speak on the rapture and the tribulation because I don't know enough about it. I have to go revisit that. That's remedial work for me. So I'm not going to speak on things that are to come, or things, how I feel about the parables and all the different things in the Bible. I'm catching up now. The nickname. All my life I wanted to have a nickname because I thought nicknames made you cool, and I just wasn't cool. I went to Catholic school. I went hanging out with my dad when I wasn't in school. I was a ballerina. I was doing all these extracurricular things, and I was an artist, and I was living in the middle of Harlem, and I just wasn't accepted. And I was the victim of really bad bullying and really bad situations, which I am now just getting to talk about. And I'm writing a book, and I'm appearing on a magazine called Mental Health Talk. It's coming out. You can pre-order it. I'll put it up on your site, Bill. And I'm really excited about being able to talk about, what I went through coming up. Don't get me wrong. I love living in Harlem and being that kid because I had to go through that to be the woman that I am. But I always wanted a nickname, and I'd write on the front of my books. And of course, that was undone because they would put book covers on our books. We went to college.
Yeah, remember that? Yeah.
But you would write on the front of your composition book your nickname, like you was tagging for real. You were really graffiti. I couldn't draw. So, it was all, like I said, very corny. And I think I wanted my nickname to be Sherry or Cherry or Rachel. I don't know what it was. But anyway, fast forward in the early 1980s, there was a club on 7th Avenue called Jock's Place. That whole corner was the Red Rooster, Jock's Place, the Renaissance Ballroom, and the Rennie Lounge, and the Lickety Split. If you're from Harlem, raise your hand. You know these places. These were places where you could go and hear great music. And before we came along, Bill, in our parents' generation, these are the places where once you finish working downtown on Restaurant Road, down on Jazz Alley, down on 52nd Street, that's where Miles Davis and all of them, they'd come uptown to play, and those were the places they played.
Got you. Right.
We were coming along. If your parents belonged to a club or had anybody that belonged to anything, they were given a dance between the Savoy Ballroom and the Renaissance Ballroom. You knew what those places were.
Absolutely. Small.
And you would show up, and y'all were right. And they would bring deviled eggs and Ritz crackers and your own liquor, and you set your table up and you buy a setup. A setup is ginger ale, Coca-Cola, club soda, orange juice.
Yes.
If you fancy cranberry juice and some lemons and limes. Anyway, I digress. This club, the Jock's Place, was still in existence, and a group came to New York called the Kinky Fox. And the Kinky Fox were a band that was playing on the cruise ships. Two brothers from Bahamas had put this band together with some guys from New York, but they stayed on the road when their road was the cruise ship. And when they came to play, and they said, we're getting off the cruise ship, we're going to make a name for us up in New York. And they did. Their lead singer was a young man named Johnny Kemp.
Oh, wow.
And
Shout out to, rest in peace, Johnny Kemp.
Yes, Johnny Kemp. So when Johnny and them came to the club, my friend who was friends with these guys in the band, Donald Dixon, bass player, shout out Donald, he couldn't go on the night that they were, debuting their whole thing at the Rennie Land, at Jock's place. And what was making it so crazy was, they came in the spandex pants and the headbands, and because they were in a show business band. They were in a band that you would go and see on cruise ship. They weren't just doing it like we did it in the hood, you know what I'm saying, with our jeans or a suit. They had this whole show thing going. So he said, Alyson, please go and greet them. They just got off the boat, and this is their first gig. They just got off the cruise ship. So I went and I saw them, and they blew my mind. And it wasn't a month later they blew everybody else's mind, because they became like the premier band. They would live at the Cellar. Anybody remembers the Cellar? And they were just a premier band. Now back to the story, how Johnny gave me my name. Johnny ended up coming to live with me because he had no place to live in New York. And some of the guys did live here. And of course, these were a band full of real fine men. They were looking good and muscle bound and in spandex. So there was all kinds of women trying to say, oh, you need a place to stay, So everybody had a place. How Johnny ended up without a place, I don't know, but I told him he could come stay with me. But we were brother and sister. And he stayed with me until he found his first place in Harlem. And he told me, I'm going to name you Alley Cat Wilson. I said, why Alley Cat Wilson? He said, well, William sounds too soft. And you're like a prize fighter. You're always fighting for something. You're always fighting for somebody. You're always fighting to make something happen. You're always trying to, put something in motion. So Wilson sounds harder. So you're a prize fighter. It's like, well, ladies and gentlemen, in this corner, Alley Cat Wilson. And the Alley Cat stuck. And that's how I got my name, Alley Cat. And I was so, just elated, because now I'm a grown woman. I had finally got my nickname.
Yes.
And that's how everybody called me Alley Cat.
And what's so funny? I never asked you, of all the years I've known you, and I've never asked you. And it is so funny when I just thought about it, because somebody, and I saw somebody saying happy birthday to you. I don't know if it was on my post or somebody's post. And they was like, hey, Alley Cat. And I wanted to say, I said to myself when I saw it, I was like, you don't know her well enough to call her Alley Cat. You know what I'm trying to say?
Now you know how far back it goes.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Nicknames are, when people hear nicknames, people want to feel connected. So they want to be able to feel they call you nickname. Like I tell anybody, if you know me from Hunter College, you know where I got my nickname. If you know me from the streets or something else, that nickname carried over to the streets. If you know me from promotion, people call me the four-star general, stuff like that. If I grew up with you, it's a Billy. If you don't know me from that, there's no Illy with me. You know what I'm saying? You earned it right to call me Billy. I don't play the Billy game for people that don't know me. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen people try to be like, oh, they seen my mother call me Billy, and they be like, yo, what's up, Billy? I'll be like, nah, stop that. Nah, we don't play that.
I have a friend. I have a girlfriend, and I apologize, and I'm thankful to all the listeners and people who watch us, because my stories are long. I'm long-winded. Yeah. But it's so funny. Regina Bell and I have our own names for each other, because I named her whole band back in the day, and they all had Southern crazy names. And I call her Priscilla Mae Grace, and she calls me Ethel Green. And that's how we talk. What's up, Ethel? Hey, Priscilla Mae. And I have a girlfriend who decided, when she found out what that was, she calls me Ethel. She's like, hey, Ethel, because she just gets a kick out of the fact that me and Regina, we go that far back, and we refer to each other, as Ethel Green and Priscilla Mae Grace.
Right over from Teaneck.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Loving God, I see you, but hold on. I have this question I want to ask. And this is before we get out of here. I want to make sure I get some input on this. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson just came out. He was talking about depression. Sending prayers to Jamie Foxx too, phenomenal actor and singer, but sending prayers to him. And a lot of people in the industry have come forward sporadically. I don't want to say a lot, but I just want to say sporadically, because next thing you know, you'll see on Good Morning America or whatever your morning show is you watch, and they'll say, oh, somebody's dealing with alcoholism, depression, and this and that. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson came out and talked about how he suffered from depression and stuff like that, and not making the football team and then trying to make it successful. So I wanted to ask you how, like, I know with celebrities, a lot of times, is it big that when another celebrity hears about or deals with depression? Like, I mean, you know, we hear about police officers, you know, getting caught up in certain things, and we hear about mental illness and stuff like that. But is depression or thoughts like that big in the music industry, and people just don't know about it?
I would imagine so, because I think that, you know, there are a lot of things that over the last few years, and yes, I think COVID is a culprit in it, that we are starting to have more conversations, open conversations, about, you know, the things that plague us. And the beauty of it is you can't fix a problem unless you address it. You can't fix a problem unless you decide to make it known, even if it's just to yourself, that something's not right. And I've been feeling like this. And I think after what we all did in quarantine as human beings, we have come to a place where those things have come to the surface, and we either have a better way of dealing with it, or we didn't, it wasn't so strong before, and now it is. It's coming to the surface and we need to deal with it. So I know for myself, and I've never been a person to hide. You know, I don't want to, but that's how it is sometimes, especially in the Black and brown community. We don't want to talk about mental illness because it's an illness, or we don't want nobody to think somebody in our family's crazy. It's not that. It's an illness, and it can be cured, if not at least managed, if it's at least addressed. And we have to open a narrative and open the conversation so that we don't feel so stigmatized, and we don't feel it's a bad thing. You know, we didn't go somewhere and pop open a vein and give ourselves depression. It came upon us. You know, it might be in things that we're lacking. It might be in things that we're overindulgent, but it's there. As I said, I am appearing on the cover of Mental Health Talks. And in that article, I'm talking about what I'm doing and what I deal with. I'm talking about, you know, how I am affected. And what I feel getting as a woman maturing, coming on into 62 years old, and in this industry, and the stresses and whatever it is. So, you know, I just think that I applaud The Rock. I think I'm going to mention to you before, I was trying to reach out to some key people, Taraji P. Henson, Charlemagne the God. I did something from Waka Flocka, who I don't know, but, you know, I know of who he is, but he was speaking into it. Courtney B. Vance, who is an actor, and all of these people are advocates for mental illness and mental health, getting to be mentally healthy. And I was trying to reach out to them because I have my Phyllis Hyman tribute show that I've been doing for over 20-something years. And I'm trying to use that as a platform, an entertainment, musical platform, to open the conversation about mental illness, because who better than a person like Phyllis Hyman, who was beautiful and a wonderful, big, shiny celebrity, but mental illness still got her. That's what caused her suicide. Diagnosed with mental health issues, and because she didn't want to take the medication and had her own idea of how she wanted to live or not live, she decided to terminate her life. But the music, the legacy of the music and her story is so poignant and so relatable, that what I'm trying to do is take the show and make it a tool that people can. We want to bring together 500 or 250 people, and we want to sit them down and have a beautiful dinner and have some people talk about it and have a panel and maybe raise money. Well, what would be your entertainment if you're going to have people come to a program like this? It would be old friend Alyson Williams sings tribute to the legendary Phyllis Hyman. And in the show, and I've done this from the beginning. It wasn't just about the music, which is the star of the show and her story, but I always added statistics about how many hundreds of thousands or millions of people slip through the cracks every year as a result of not being diagnosed, not being talked about, not being, being in a place where they can't get the help that they need, so that people understand this wasn't just about music and, shiny clothes and big tall hats and what have you. This is a real thing. And we're trying to shine a light on it. This is my way of doing it. And my way of even dealing with my own issues is to try to get this out there to these people who are, who have a brighter light and maybe a bigger marquee value. So if anybody knows how to tell those people I'm trying to get them, can they please return my phone calls or get back to me through my emails? I'm only one person away from all of these people, but sometimes it's just not easy to get people. I did speak to Dougie Fresh. Shout out.
Sometimes it's just that
absolutely.
Right person.
Yeah. I spoke to Dougie the other day, and we have another conversation coming up. When I explained it to him, he was like, I didn't know he was an advocate for mental health issues. And I saw him on the Tamron Hall show. And as I saw him coming on the show, I missed the whole show. I got to go back and look at it. I called him because I got his number. I have his number, and he picks up the phone all the time because we go back like that. And he said, Alyson, I think you got something here, and I think it has legs. I want to put you in touch with some other people. So we're going to see how it comes out. And to the other people that I mentioned, the Tarajis, the Courtney B. Vances, the Charlemagnes, I'm trying to reach out because I think this is something you'd be vested in, because it comes from the entertainment, angle of it. Using that as a way to reach in and have people come together where, like I said, they won't feel beat up over the head. They won't feel, like, it won't be that, that stigmatizing. You'll be in a setting where you're open and your mind and your heart are open to be able to understand, give, donate, whatever you want to do, reach out, get help, give help. And I know that this particular piece has that. And my bottom line is, if there's a Michael Jackson, or can be a Michael Jackson on Broadway, and there can be a Tina Turner on Broadway, and there can be a Duke Ellington celebrator on Broadway, there can be a Phyllis Hyman on Broadway. And that's where I'm trying to take it. Yeah, that's where I'm trying to take it. And I have excerpts of a story that nobody has, because I was a personal friend, and I was there. I was there at the end. I was there. I saw what was going on,
Yeah.
So,
and then a lot of times people don't understand, I never forget one time when I was walking down the street. I was working, but I was, had to go to court, and I ran across a friend of mine, and I asked him, it stopped me from asking this ultimate question, because I said to him, I said, yo, how you doing? And he said, I'm not doing good. And he started talking and conversing about, I guess whatever he was going through in his relationship and stuff like that. And I was like, oh. So then I was like, I could see he had a lot on his mind, but I was going to be late for court. So I said, yo, I got to go. He said, no, you can't go. I said, what do you mean I can't go? He said, you asked me. And I said, oh. I said, wow. That happened to me twice. To this day, I'm not asking the person how you doing unless I know I can sit there and listen to how you doing. And I say that with jest, but I mean it sincerely, because the bottom line is, when you ask that ultimate question, how you doing, you don't know who you're running into and what's going on in their mind and in their heart and where they are. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna
tell you something. I had something similar happen, not in that way, but just when you think about asking someone how they doing, this person was representing a person that I was working with, and they were like their right-hand person. So it was time for us to get ready to get on the road, and they needed information about what was going on and where and what and where I was and all of that. We hadn't been in touch in a long time because we were on hiatus. And so he gets on the phone, and he's, his main situation was to find out, the information. But he said, so how you doing? And when I got ready to tell him, well, he just skipped right over it. And I'll never forget how that made me feel. Because in my mind, I was like, what the hell did you ask me for?
Exactly.
I didn't have anything bad to say. I didn't have anything, but I was going to tell him how I was doing.
Yeah, right.
I was going to fill that void, that question, and I thought that you really gave a damn about how I was feeling. But apparently that was just rhetoric. That was just and like I said, I knew who that person was and how they were, so it didn't surprise me. But but you thought you was able to have a conversation
on a different level when they
I would
ask
I
you.
would at least thought I would have been able to say, yeah, I'm doing okay, except for, I got a bunion, and keep it moving. But I couldn't even get that out. So it's like, if you didn't genuinely want to know how I felt, don't ask me.
Yeah, because it becomes part of the just a good morning. Is it really a good morning? You know what I'm saying? Hey, shout out
Yeah.
to Eddie Vieira. He said what's up to you. Eddie says
Hey,
from the age. He says from the age of 10, you're Billy, but only when we're hanging crew from the block. When amongst the others else, you're Bill. Exactly. And then he also texts me and he's like, yeah, he says, I know the nicknames exactly, but I would only say them, accordingly. And he wouldn't put it on social media. Absolutely. Shout out to everybody that's watching. Yeah, because, we're going to close down because I want Alyson to enjoy her splish splash. But I just wanted to bring that up because the bottom line is I was coming from the perspective of a lot of times when you're the man or the woman, especially in this business, your business, or just any business, a lot of times when you're Mr. Popularity, I've heard people being the star athlete in the town, and then they don't make it to be that athlete. They go into depression because everybody used to call their name, the Roar, and now they don't hear that anymore, and people yearn for that. I mean, even just with me from the promotional standpoint, I mean, I've been a popular person for a lot of avenues and a lot of different avenues. And that's a God-given talent. And just like your voice is a God-given talent. But the bottom
absolutely,
line,
man.
we still, I think you, me, anybody, you still want to hear the crowd. You know what I'm saying? To a certain,
And sometimes it's not even yearned for because it's not that selfish or, heady. But what was it about me that drew you to me to begin with? Am I still not that person?
yeah,
There was one thing that didn't happen. I didn't make the team. But that
yeah,
didn't mean that I wasn't still a good person. That doesn't mean I wasn't dedicated. That doesn't mean that I wasn't a good representation when y'all needed me to go and stand in front of the news camera and wave the home team. Didn't mean that I kept myself on a certain level and held myself to a certain standard so that I could try to make the team. I put in all the work. Whatever happened, happened. So how come you don't still, give me that admiration or that adoration or respect?
absolutely.
And that can do a number on you. You know what I'm saying? So and I tell people all the time with what I do, it's like people see the highlight reel in your real life and on Facebook or whatever. They see you're the belle of the ball. It's
Absolutely.
amazing to be the belle of the ball and the center of attention, but when you go home alone.
Yeah, yeah,
And nobody knows how you feel when you sit on the side of the bed. And everybody sits on the side of the bed or the
yeah,
edge of the
yeah,
couch.
yeah,
Everybody has that. How do you feel? Do you cry yourself to sleep at night? Are you lonely? Do you wish you had kids? Do you wonder where your kids are? Do you wish you had a better, relationship? Do you wish you had a relationship with a partner? What are the things? You are the person that brings the party, that brings the celebration, that makes people want to hug up. When I saw you and Malika at South, and I was singing "Just Call My Name," and y'all are playing footsie under the table and holding hands and kissing on a
yeah.
hand
That
and
that
being
that's the
all of that,
flow.
looking at each other with googly eyes. Well, sometimes the people who bring you that and bring you that feeling and take you to that place where it makes you feel that or puts that mindset on you, we don't have that.
Right, right. I mean, well, what's so funny? A lot of times, even like Malika said this to me, and just I'm sure, as an entertainer or as an ear, you can talk and listen to everybody else's situation problems. But then when you have your time to unwind, and then she'll be like, well, I want to talk to you about something. And I'm be like, yo, I'm kind of drained, and then she was like, well, wait a minute. I shared you with the world. Now it's my time and you drained. So I had to learn how to balance that because before that, I could be the ear or the conversationist, the converse with people all the time. Just like, you're on a stage and you're making everybody happy. But then if you go home and at that time, I'm just using this example, say you want to be hugged and held and you want to come home and tell somebody, yo, how the show was and how my day was. And it's not that. You're like, yo, like, okay,
But you gotta reboot and be ready the
yeah,
next time. Everybody wants a picture. Everyone wants a hug. Please sing my favorite song. Oh, remember this one? And yada yada. Please meet this one. Oh, look, my grandmother's on the phone. Can you please say hi? You have to do all of that. And I'm surprised that you and Malika don't sit back and go, let's find Allison a man. I don't know why y'all not having that conversation. Y'all
having it.
call yourself y'all call
We-
yourself friends. I'm talking to all of my coupled up, booed up, married up people. If y'all don't fix this situation in a minute, y'all are gonna be the ones responsible
so let me
for the
ask you a question before we
consequences.
get out of
For
here.
the consequences, huh?
Yo, just before we get out of here, too, Dana said, this is very true. I felt this way just recently. I usually keep how I feel to myself. I told you, don't do that. Let that out. Let me tell you, I tell anybody to converse. Eddie Vieira, I'm giving you a happy congratulations. People don't know that. They won't know until they ask you, but congratulations. Allie, so before we get out of here, what are you looking for in a man? And then you can give us some positive affirmation.
He's got to be a man who knows himself. He should be successful in whatever it is he's doing, or whatever he's working towards. He should, at this point, I would imagine, because I kind of like to be in my age range. You know what I'm saying?
Of course,
Because I don't
absolutely.
like having conversations that go, "Child, you're probably not old enough to remember this, but back in 19." After I say that too many times,
That's the worst
people are
conversation to have with somebody, male
oh
or
my
female.
God, because I know how it makes a man feel emasculated. So I don't want to do that to my boo. But I'm open, but I'm just saying, I want someone who has a spiritual basis. So they're God-fearing. I want someone who has a sense of humor, open mind, open heart, passion and compassion, who loves family. You know what I'm saying? If they have family, that's good with me. If they're close to their family, kids or whatever case may be, and someone who enjoy still trying to have adventures in life. Everything doesn't have to be wrapped in a big, let's go to the Bahamas bow, but some things that are just sometimes simple and intimate and quiet and just something that's shared. That's how you make the best memories. Although I do like grandeur because I'm a grand kind of girl, but
Yeah,
it
yeah,
doesn't
yeah, yeah,
always have to be that. I like a balance, and just somebody. There's something to being a man's man, and I think a man's man knows what that is. A woman wants to be provided for, protected, and have stability.
I
A woman wants a
totally
man
agree.
that's going to be affectionate. A woman wants a man that has confidence, especially with what I do. I got men and women and everything coming from all different sides. But you got to understand who I am and understand that if I was interested in all of that, that's what I'd be doing. I wouldn't be over here trying to, hold hands with you going down the street. I'd be doing, shaking my shenanigans. But if I want
Absolutely.
to be in a relationship, then that's, I want to be with that person. I don't think, like you were talking about loyalty earlier, I don't think there's anyone more loyal than a Torian. Like you said, Bill, you are loyal to a fault and you understand what that is. So that's what I'm looking for in a man. You know what I'm saying?
So
I'm into
Malika
height.
and I are on it. We on it.
It's not
You know
it's
what I'm
not a
saying?
deal breaker, but I kind of like looking up.
Let me
You
tell you
know.
something. Listen, I usually almost everybody I know I done hooked up with. They done. I got credits. I got a few people that I've introduced or helped that have been together for some years. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna work on it, and I'm gonna find somebody. That's so funny because it's a shame for the ones that want somebody. They run into the BS. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost
Yeah.
like won't the BS people find the BS people? But it seems like the BS people want to mess with the people that are looking for something more. You know what I'm saying? And people are not
Mm-hmm.
right in what they want and what they're looking for. Be
Or
honest.
you'll find perfectly good men who find women that just aren't really, grounded and they're crazy, but they stay with them. I don't know whether it's a big button, a smile, or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
else about her
yeah,
that
yeah.
might, intrigue them or whatever. But every other day you talk about she crazy, it's cat shit. Excuse my language. But
No,
it's like, well, why would you stay with that? Why would you
absolutely,
stay with that? Hey, listen, you know
absolutely.
what I want to do? I want to offer you to share my Jello shot. My host, Akima, has brought me a big giant hypodermic. Can you see it?
I
And
see it.
it is yellow laced with a
Vodka,
concoction,
yeah, some kind of concoction. But
Kabi
go ahead.
vodka.
Go ahead, get it. Shout out to my man Terrence Land and Building, the opening DJ, one of my guys, my childhood brothers. You listen to him on at the brunch party. If you come this Saturday, let me tell you something. He lays down the top 40s. He takes you back. You singing songs that you didn't remember, and he's gonna take you around the world. So shout out to T. T-Rock, affectionately known as
Y'all having a party
40
this
Dog.
week? It's coming up this week.
Yes, if you're in town, come by. Collins in the building. He said, "Hey, Alley Cat."
Hey, Colin,
40
listen, let me
Toxic
tell you something. Bill, I was in New York for a whole week. I had plenty of time to run up and down 8th Avenue. And every time I went past that venue and you weren't there doing what you do there, all I could do was look at it and like tilt my head to the side like a puppy. I was like, what happens there when he's not there?
Absolutely. It's a
I was
different
driving
energy.
and I remember somebody being behind me blowing the horn because I had just slowed down. And I was just looking going, boy, this sure don't look the same as when I know Bill is there doing his thing.
Yeah, because when that street get closed in June, it's going to be a wrap. Shout out to Tawana Scott. She said, "Hey, Bill. Hey, Allison. Blessings on blessings." Absolutely. Everybody, I'm Bill Foster. That's Alyson Williams. It's Real Talk with Alyson Williams. She is in the hot tub doing hot tub shit. She is having a bull. She's taking Jello shots. She's she's strong Jade on us. Yeah, exactly. You know, Allie, I see you splash. Yep. I want you to enjoy the daylight. The rest of it you have left. I want you to enjoy your jelly shots. T-Rock said, "Yo, best brunch in New York City." Absolutely. If you ain't been there, you don't know. Allie, give us some positive affirmation before we get out of here. Did you freeze or we still got you? You might have.
No, I didn't freeze. I guess water got on the screen. It went away. I'm back. Hey, listen, I want to always, my affirmation is love and light, peace and blessings, miracles and music, and above all, joy. And I like to tell people if we work from a place of love, hate can't win. But what I want to say is thank you, Bill. I want to thank you. I want to thank Malika for giving me an opportunity to continue to grow with you, with Real Talk, and to give me a Monday where I could come and sit in the hot tub or wherever I might be and give my interpretation of what's going on in the world, take questions, give answers, reach out to people that have been supporters, reach out to people who I'm just meeting or haven't even met yet. But thank you for keeping the Real Talk Chronicles alive and making me a part of it. It means a lot to me, not only as an artist, but it means an awful lot as a friend, a multi-year, we go way, way back like car seats. And I thank you. I want everybody to know. I say it out loud and I say it very proudly. And so y'all keep on tuning in on the Wednesdays and the other Mondays. And whenever Bill is live, you should be too. Okay. Yeah. And thank you. And I'll see y'all next month. We're going to find another interesting place to come to you from.
That's it. Enjoy. Oh, what you got anything coming up you want the people to know about in any city near you?
Well, like I said, in Arlington, Virginia, we'll be in Norfolk, Virginia on the 19th. I don't know the name of the venue because I just got on the date. With Najee, so look up Najee's official website and it'll tell you the date where it is on the 19th in Norfolk, Virginia, and in Arlington, Virginia, which is right across the street basically from DC. If you know anything about DC and Arlington, the venue is called the Birchmere, and Najee will be performing there, but also receiving the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. I can't say it enough how proud I am of him and to be a part of his journey at this point in time. I got some other stuff I'll post up and, and let you know what I'm doing. I don't know when I'm coming back to the New York City area. I think the closest thing I got is Atlantic City, New Jersey with the R&B Music Society. And that's going to be in, the 24th of June. The 17th of June, I'm at a club called Middle C, which is the premier jazz club in Charlotte, North Carolina. If you're around, y'all come on out and just, I put up the card. You'll see me on Alyson Williams Music, Facebook, Alyson Williams Music on Instagram, and Alyson Williams Twitter. And
it's my, what is it? Not my prerogative. What you call it, Alice? A woman's prerogative, right?
AWP. Well, that's the company, but all of the monikers are Alyson Williams Music except for Twitter.
No, I know, but I'm just saying if somebody wanted to reach you for booking or anything like that.
So they could go to AWP BIZZ. That's AWP Biz at AOL.
There you go. Everybody, it's Real Talk Chronicles. That's Alyson Williams. Shout out to Allie. She's playing in the hot tub. She's splishing and splashing. Listen, her hair got wet. Look, she got.
I'm gonna tell you who I really am, Bill. Watch this. I'm gonna end the show.
Oh, that's it. I'm done. Oh my God. And on that note, listen, I don't know what to say. I would say, yo, you don't know who
I'm
you gonna
living
get
my
when the
best
lights.
life, boo.
You don't know who you gonna get when the lights turn off. You know what I'm saying? Oh,
I ain't mad because it's still all good. Listen.
absolutely. Colin says she's crazy. Yes. Shout out to Colin Clark in the building. Everybody, Allison. And Malika, your girl left her hand in the cat. Hey,
You
yo,
never know. Sometimes a baseball hat is more than a baseball hat.
Listen.
The
Talk
best
about It was
invention
like,
ever.
when they talk about who you looking for, a woman with short hair, and then you go in there somewhere and put the cap on, and then I'd be like, well, I don't see her. They'd be like, there she is. No, she is. She got long hair. You said woman with short hair. That's it.
It can work both ways. I'd be like, there was a woman in here. She had long blonde hair and baseball cap. By the time I take it off and stick it in the garbage, I'm walking across the parking lot with short hair, with waves,
Exactly.
y'all. Just waves.
Yo, everybody, you got everybody laughing. They are loving that show.
That's what I'm talking about.
Good night, everybody. Yo, Allie, that's it. I need a drink
I
now.
love you and see you next month.
I'll see you in a month. Take care. Enjoy.
Peace.
Everybody, that's Real Talk. That's Alyson Williams. That's hilarious.